Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why people believe such different things about important stuff, like where a virus came from? Well, this new study dives deep into that very question, and it's fascinating. You know, when COVID-19 first hit, there were so many questions about where it all began. Scientists have a pretty solid idea it came from animals, a natural jump. But that didn't stop other ideas, big and small, from popping up everywhere. Some people thought it was made in a lab, others that it was a supernatural punishment, and some even linked it to things like 5G phones. This study wanted to understand how people in different countries thought about these different explanations. This is key. Usually, scientists look at the average belief across a group. But this study said, wait a minute, people don't think with just one idea at a time. We can hold lots of different explanations and beliefs at once, even if they don't quite fit together. They wanted to look at the patterns of these beliefs, not just the average. So, how did they do it? They called it Latent Profile Analysis, or LPA. Think of it like sorting people into different groups based on their answers. Instead of saying most people think X, they could say there are different kinds of people and here is what each kind believes about the virus's origin. They surveyed folks from 11 different countries. That's a lot of people. Over 4,800. They asked them to rate how much they agreed with several explanations. One about animal origins, some about human-made causes like a bioweapon or a cover-up by elites, and others about supernatural reasons like punishment from God or karma. And what did they find? 7 different groups or profiles of people emerged. Let's paint a picture of these groups. One big group, Profile A, was the rejectionists of conspiracy and supernatural ideas. They mostly didn't agree with those and were more inclined towards the idea of it coming from bats. Then there were folks who were uncertain about almost everything, called Profile B and E. They just weren't sure what to believe. Some groups really leaned into the supernatural. Profile C believed in Mother Nature as an explanation, while Profile G really believed in divine punishment from God. A distinct group, Profile D, were the conspiracy theorists. They believed it was a bioterrorism plot or a plan by wealthy elites. And then there was Profile F, the universal believers. These people, surprisingly, agreed with almost all the explanations, even the ones that seemed to contradict each other. The study also found that these belief patterns weren't the same everywhere. The number of distinct groups or profiles changed from country to country. Some countries had only 3 groups, while others had up to 8. This shows that not only do individuals within a country have different beliefs, but the whole landscape of beliefs can look different across the world. Now, who ended up in which group? They found some interesting links. Older folks 50 and over seemed to be less likely to believe conspiracy theories and more likely to reject supernatural explanations, which makes sense as they are often less susceptible to misinformation. On the flip side, people who identified as liberal were more likely to believe in the Mother Nature explanation, while conservatives were more likely to embrace a broader range of explanations, including the more conspiratorial ones. And as you might expect, people who identified as religious were more likely to lean towards supernatural explanations, particularly divine punishment. This highlights how our personal identities and worldviews shape what explanations we find plausible. This is where it gets really practical. The researchers looked at whether these beliefs affected people's actions, specifically mask wearing and vaccination. They found that people in the uncertainty groups, like Profile B, and the conspiracy theorist group, Profile D, were way less likely to wear masks and get vaccinated. This is a critical finding. It suggests that not believing in science or being swayed by conspiracy theories can directly impact public health efforts. But here is a twist. The universal believers who agreed with all explanations, Profile F, were actually more likely to wear masks and vaccinate. This means holding multiple beliefs doesn't automatically mean rejecting science or public health advice. It's the type of beliefs and the uncertainty that seem to be the biggest predictors of risk-taking behavior. So, what is the big takeaway here? It's that public opinion isn't just one big blob. People think in complex ways, holding multiple, sometimes conflicting ideas at once. And these patterns vary across the globe. Understanding these different groups, their beliefs, and how those beliefs connect to behavior is super important, especially when we face future health challenges. Now, of course, no study is perfect. The researchers pointed out that they only asked about 10 specific explanations. There might be other ways people think about the virus's origin that they didn't capture. Also, interpreting the meaning of a middle ground agreement on a scale can sometimes be tricky, they mentioned. Ultimately, this research is a powerful reminder that human thinking is complex. Instead of just looking at averages, we need to understand the diverse profiles of belief that exist. This helps us see why some people might resist public health advice, and it gives gives us a better roadmap for communicating effectively in times of crisis. Imagine tailoring messages to different belief profiles instead of a one-size-fits-all approach. That could be a game changer. It's really cool to see how our minds grapple with uncertainty and how those internal processes can lead to very real-world actions. That's all for this episode of RUBIN'S Mind Lab. If you found this discussion interesting, give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more mind-bending research, and let us know in the comments what you think about these different belief patterns we found. Thanks for watching.